All right, I'm Harrison Graham. It is time for my 13th Bears mock draft as I unveil my 7-rounder. If you're watching live, we are 2 weeks out from the NFL draft. The plan is to get to 15. I'll unveil 14 next week, which I think is going to be like my dream mock draft. Like this would be the perfect outcome. And then my final one will be a day or two before the draft based on the latest intel, what I think actually will happen. So that's kind of our plan for now, subject to change, of course, but that's where things sit. Just a reminder of the picks the Bears have. 4 in the top 72. No fourth rounder. You got 148 in round 5, couple of seventh rounders. 7 picks in total. That, of course, could change between now and the draft or during the draft via trades. Okay, who will be the Bears pick at 10? What is your gut feeling right now? 2 weeks out, gun to your head, who do you think the Bears pick? Not who you want. Who do you think it is? Let me know who that player is. I think right now my gut's telling me Tyler Warren for a couple of reasons. One, because as I just go through these mocks, and because I do mocks on 4verts as well, so I kind of have a feel for all 32 teams of who could go where, what's going to happen, etc. I think when I just play this out, as you look through how this one played out, Cam Ward's going to go. We know Carter and Hunter are going to go 2-3 unless Shedeur goes there, but I don't think that's happening. I think if that plays out that way, I think Will Campbell will go 4 to the Patriots. I think Mason Graham to the Jags feels like the worst-kept secret. And again, we always think we know shit, then it ends up not being the case. Ashton Jinty to the Raiders. Don't think it's a done deal, but I do think that's fairly likely. Armand Mimbu to the Jets. There's minus betting odds right now that that's the pick for the number 7 pick. That tells you there's some intel there. I don't know who Carolina will take at 8, but I think it'll be a defensive player. So Jalen Walker, Mike Green, whoever it is. Shedeur Sanders 9 in this scenario. I think the Saints would take the chance if he's sitting there. And then to me, the best player available at a position that the Bears would be willing to add in the first round, I do think it's Tyler Warren. Like I think A, he's the most likely, which is how we just outlined it. And B, I think Ben Johnson. Like, is this not the most like, hey, it's the Ben Johnson era, the first pick of the era? Like, the most creative player, offensive player in the draft is Tyler Warren. Like that, it just almost feels like it's meant to be. Now, again, I'm not all in on Warren needs to be the pick. I'm not all in on Ashton Jinty, but those are 2 guys I really, really like, along with a few others. But I just think out of the group of players that I like and that I think the Bears really like in round 1, I think he's the most likely to be there, and I think he's a player that the Bears would take. Think about how creative Ben Johnson could get with this guy. You could throw jump balls to him. You could put him in motion. You can line him up at a traditional tight end slot. He's a good enough blocker with ability to improve. You can line him up at fullback. He could be your tush push guy. You can run QB power with him in a wildcat formation. You need more help at tight end anyway, with Cole Kmet not getting much supporting help over the last few years. And I trust Ben Johnson to get a lot out of Tyler Warren. If Matt Eberflus was still this team's head coach, I would not draft Tyler Warren because you have to have a creative offensive mind to get value out of him, in my opinion. And Ben Johnson is the definition of that. We'll see how he is as a head coach, but one thing we know for sure is he is a creative and innovative offensive mind and play caller. And to me, that is how you maximize a player like Tyler Warren, is to match him up with a play caller like Ben Johnson. So that's what my gut's telling me 2 weeks out. That could certainly change based on intel we hear, based on other things that pop up. But right now, I think Tyler Warren's most likely to be the Bears pick at 10. Okay, trade alert. I really think the Bears would like to trade down from one of their picks in the second round to add an additional 3rd or 4th rounder. So I'm going to drop 14 spots from 39 to 53 with Tampa, pick up their 3rd in the process. I'll throw them a bone, take one of our 7th-round picks so they can at least get a dart back. And then I'm going to take Donovan Jackson at 41 before we get to that 53 pick with Tampa Bay. I think the range of Jackson's pretty interesting. He's been getting some round 1 buzz. Houston at 25, Minnesota at 24. They could both take him. I find it interesting that Dane Brugler has labeled him as a tackle in the Beast, his draft guide. He liked his tape at tackle better than he did at guard, despite having way more reps at guard in his college career. Here's what he had to say about the offensive tackle, or offensive lineman, we'll see, out of Ohio State. Overall, Jackson sustained in recovery. Hiccups must be addressed by an NFL coaching staff, but his athletic traits and play strength should translate well to the next level. He projects as an NFL starter, and his tape shows a player with true tackle guard flexibility and versatility. I do agree with Brugler. I do think he's got the flexibility to play both. Now, I think he's probably more of a guard that could play tackle, but I think he's got enough measurables to do it if needed. Just under 6'4", so on the shorter end of a tackle if he does play there, but I think he makes up with that with the arm length and the wingspan there, 34-inch arms, 83-inch wingspan, which are both much longer than a Will Campbell, for example. He's got big hands. Like when he gets his hands on you, it's tough to get free for these defensive linemen. He's heavy enough at 315, so I do think he can play left tackle. I don't know if it's his best position, but I think in the second round, it could be kind of an ideal draft pick for the Bears because you accomplish a couple of things here. One, I think he would fall into that bucket to throw into the competition at left tackle with Braxton Jones, who's recovering from an injury, and Karan Amagaji, who's coming off a up and down, mostly down rookie year, but still has physical traits that intrigue you, while also doubling as he could just be like your top backup lineman really across the board, right? Guard and tackle specifically. You need kind of that number 6 lineman that you feel good about with the flexibility. I think he can accomplish that while also entering the competition at left tackle. So I like the value in the second round here. I don't think he'd be a guy that the Bears would trade back into round 1 for. I think if they did that, they would do it for a truer left tackle prospect like a Josh Connerly, like a Josh Simmons, even a Kelvin Banks, who's more of a tackle guard hybrid but has played left tackle much more than Donovan Jackson. But if you get him at 39 or 41, I would love it because he kind of checks a couple of boxes at the same time. Okay, here's what we need to do. If you want us to do a fan-led mock draft on Monday, we're also going to have my reaction to Cullen's mock draft on Monday. We got to get to 120,000 subs by then. We're less than 100 away, 98 subs away from 120,000. So we got from now until Monday's live show to get 98 new subscribers. If you want a fan-led mock this year, haven't done one other than kind of the quick ones in free agency, let's get to 120K by Monday. Spread the word, share the link with a friend, tell them to hit subscribe. Once we get to 120K, if we do it by Monday, fan-led mock time. Okay, Carson Schwesinger, round 2, pick 53. This is the pick I make with the trade I did with Tampa Bay. I like this guy. He's pretty athletic, and he has pretty good size, especially for a modern linebacker. Now, this isn't Brian Urlacher size, but 6'3", 242. I think he could be your third linebacker this year. I think he's flexible to play both middle and weak side or strong side linebacker. And I think long-term he could project to be a middle linebacker. And Tremaine Edmunds, as we've discussed, he's kind of, after this year, he could be a guy you move on from if he doesn't have a great year. So he kind of gives you insurance for the future as your starter there, but also short-term on-the-field production, which you need because you lost Jack Sanborn. And this guy's much more athletic than Sanborn. So if their thinking was, when they didn't tender Sanborn and let him go, to go with a more athletic profile, get someone in the draft, I think this accomplishes that. He has a better chance to be a high-end starter than Sanborn ever would have, while also giving you more athletic upside in the short term as well to contribute as an LB3. And guys, I'm just telling you, keep an eye on the linebacker position on day 2, especially if they could pull off a trade like this where they add an extra day 2 draft pick, because linebacker, safety as well, 2 positions that are sneakily needs for the Chicago Bears. Okay, today's show is sponsored by Brunt. Brunt, the best working boots I've ever owned, the most comfortable ones as well. As a homeowner and a father of a 2-year-old, I'm constantly doing different projects around the house, inside, outside, especially when I'm outside doing work. Having a reliable pair of boots is absolutely vital. The Marin boots with Brunt are the most comfortable boots I've ever worn. You can finally have durable work boots that are as comfortable as your sneakers. Join over 500,000 other customers and join the Brunt family today. And Brunt lets you try the boots on the job risk-free, and all their products have free shipping. Brunt isn't just about work boots, though. They offer a full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs, from heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets. Brunt designs durable and reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. Brunt also knows that they have the best boots on the planet. So they'll let you try any of those products on the job risk-free, like I mentioned. They didn't just make a durable work boot, though. They reinvented comfort. Comfort's so important for the hardest workers out there. For a limited time only, get $10 off with Brunt by using code CHAT at checkout. That's bruntworkwear.com. Code CHAT. You can throw the /chat on the link in there as well, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Tell them we sent you Chat Sports, Bears Now specifically. That way they continue to show love to us, and you're going to continue to be getting those projects done around the house. Trust me, they're comfortable, they're durable, they're solid. Your feet aren't going to get wet. Frontworkwear.com/chat. Use promo code chat for $10 off. Okay, Omarr Norman-Lott. I don't know if I've taken him in a mock. If I have, it's been a while. Maybe one of my mocks during the season or early on in the offseason. He's an interesting eval because from an RAS, relative athletic score standpoint, it kind of just average, right? A little undersized, just under 6'2", as a defensive tackle. The testing was not great, although the vertical and broad were pretty good. So there's some explosiveness there, but the speed and quickness kind of just average. But you watch the guy play, one thing really stands out. Motor. He never stops. He kind of reminds me of Austin Booker in that case, whereas last year, Booker didn't give you a ton of production, but he always is flying to the football. The effort is there, and we know that is something this regime has valued a lot. He does have some good production, too. 9.5 sacks as an interior guy the last 2 years, and that's really as a rotation guy at Tennessee. Does have 43 pressures in 23 games. It gives you a couple a game in college. And his pass rush win rate this last year was 19%. That's very high for interior pass rusher. Now, he's not great against the run. I don't know if he'll ever be great there. I think that's a result of being a little undersized as an interior guy. He did have a top 30 visit with the Bears. That's per Ian Rappaport, so he's at least someone the Bears have looked into. But that relentless motor, I think you get him into a room, like that'll impress veterans like Grady Jarrett and Montez Sweat. Like, hey, this guy, he's coming in with the right attitude and mindset. I think he could come in and kind of have a similar role, albeit not as productive right away as he was at Tennessee, just as a, hey, come in, be a rotation piece, pass rush downs especially, and give us some juice, because I think he can do that. Again, I don't know if he's ever a 3-down player in the NFL. That's why he's probably a 3rd, 4th guy. If you look at him as purely a pass rusher, a disruptor on the interior, I'd probably take him in the 2nd round, but he's kind of a negative against the run. So to me, 3rd round's the sweet spot. Rotation piece, pass rush specialist that hopefully can improve enough to at least be average as a run defender. If he can do that, maybe he does have a chance to be a full-time starter down the road. But you got enough depth at defensive tackle where you could kind of just let him develop, ease into a role in his rookie season. Okay, with that extra 3rd round pick from Tampa, I finally get my running back, and I like the value here. Damien Martinez out of Miami. I've watched this kid for a number of years. I watched him as not a rookie, a freshman at Oregon State in 2022. When DJU transferred to Oregon State the next year, he got all the headlines. Martinez carried that offense. Like they were able to lean on him and kind of hide DJU's glaring weaknesses, which we saw get exposed at Florida State, obviously, last year. Then he goes to Miami in a kind of split carry role with another back, and he's efficient as hell. 7 yards per carry, hit 1,000 yards on less than 160 carries, had 10 touchdowns. I think like the lazy take with Martinez is that he's just a thumper. I think he's got some juice too. He can thump, and he will thump, but he can make some guys miss in space. Like, he's got a little wiggle. Like, to me, that's the difference between him and Roschon Johnson. Damien Martinez, like Roschon, they can both thump. But Roschon just does not make people miss. I'm not going to say Martinez is going to do that a lot in the NFL. 4.51 guy, though. Pretty good speed at almost 230 pounds. He does got a little shake and bake. Kind of like David Montgomery when he was here. He'd give you some shiftiness and wiggle. I think Martinez gives you just enough of that where he could be a lead runner in the NFL. And you want to talk about just contrasting styles. Him and Swift, I love the stylistic differences there. Whereas Martinez, in between the tackles primarily, he can lower the shoulder, get those dirty yards. Swift, we know that is not a strength of his. The one downside with Martinez, though, is really both your backs are not great in pass pro. that Damien Martinez is not very good in pass pro. Now, you hope with his size profile he could improve there, but that's probably going to take at least a year or two of NFL coaching to at least get to the average standpoint. So Roschon Johnson could still have a role there as your RB3 to be your pass pro guy, even Travis Homer. But as a runner, as a downhill guy who can see hole, hit hole between the tackles, Damien Martinez checks those boxes. And I think he's underrated as a pass catcher. So I think third round, sweet spot for him. I would love him in this range. What round do you want the Bears to draft a running back? Do you want to take Genty or Hampton in round 1? Do you want to take Judkins or Henderson or Johnson in round 2? How about Martinez or Devin Neal or Scadaboo in round 3? What round? And if you want to add the player with that round, do you want to see the Bears draft a running back? Okay, no fourth round picks. We got 1/5 and then just 1/7 since we traded that other one with Tampa. Jaw Joyner, sometimes you do these mocks and you're like, oh, I haven't seen this name before. Let's just look into him a little bit. 13 sacks the last I think 12 sacks the last 2 years combined at Minnesota, so pretty good. And he kind of checks some Dennis Allen boxes, 6'4", over 260. I think he's got 33, 34-inch arms, so he's pretty long as well. So, haven't gotten an edge at this point. So if you want to get kind of a Dennis Allen prototype who's had some production to go along with it, I think Joyner checks those boxes with the size and weight and length combination. And then a guy, I try not to overdo the same picks, but Elijah Badger, Brugler's got him as a round 7 grade, low 4.4s guy, so he's got speed. He's been productive at 2 different colleges. I don't know why he's this low on people's boards. He's over 6 feet. Like, to me, I'd take him in like the 5th, but shoot, if he's there in the 7th, I think he can be a part of a rotation and at least contribute on special teams. So go ahead and snag him as well. All right, there you have it. Mock Draft 13.0. I get Tyler Warren at 10. Trade down from 39 to pick up 53 and 84. Donovan Jackson at 41. Carson Schwesinger at 53 to address linebacker there. I get Omarr Norman-Lott at 72. Damien Martinez at 84 with that extra third-round pick. And then Jaw Joyner, the edge out of Minnesota, and Elijah Badger, the wide receiver out of Florida. So there is my latest mock. If you want to drop a letter grade in the comments, you can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got a couple mocks left before the real shebang is here. So hit that subscribe button. We'll continue to hit you guys with daily updates and a couple more mock drafts. So stay tuned.